The sun melted into gold over the quiet river of Umuaja village. The water looked harmless, smooth like polished glass. But rivers have memories, and sometimes they keep secrets. Chinenye stood at the shore with her best friend, Uche. Her white dress danced gently in the evening breeze. Today was supposed to be the beginning of forever. On the other side of the river stood Emeka, her fiancé, tall, charming, respected. Beside him was his closest friend, Namdi. Today, Emeka had promised to take Chinenye across the river to see the land he bought for their future home. A symbolic crossing, a new beginning. Chinenye dialed his number. "Are you ready?" she asked softly. Emeka smiled. "Always." The small wooden boat pushed into the water. No one on that shore knew that this ride would change everything. The boat rocked gently as the four laughed. Uche teased Emeka about wedding food. Namdi joked about becoming best man. Chinenye leaned against Emeka, glowing. Halfway across the river, the wind shifted. Not violently, not dramatically, just enough. The water beneath them swirled differently. Namdi paused. "Did you feel that?" Before anyone could respond, the boat jerked sharply. Water splashed in. Chinenye screamed. Another wave struck, stronger. The boat flipped. Silence swallowed the sky. Cold. Darkness. Bubbles rising. Chinenye's eyes opened underwater. She reached for Emeka. Their fingers almost touched. Almost. But the current dragged her downward. Uche struggled beside her, kicking wildly. Above them, Emeka broke the surface. "Chinenye!" Namdi gasped beside him. They dove. Again. 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 Nothing. No white dress. No hands. Just weeds. Mud. Silence. After nearly drowning themselves, the two men crawled back to shore, broken, shaking, devastated. But the river had not finished speaking. By morning, the village gathered. How did the men survive? Where are the women? Why only them? The whispers grew sharp. Then the police arrived. The river was searched. No bodies, no fabric, no evidence. Just two surviving men. Emeka tried to explain. His voice cracked. But grief without proof looks like guilt. They were arrested, and the village divided in two. 3 days later, a fisherman downstream discovered something caught in his net, a torn piece of white cloth. The search resumed, but something didn't add up. The river current didn't flow toward that direction, which meant someone had moved her. Detective Okoro, newly assigned to the case, began to question deeper. He discovered something shocking. Emeka had taken out a large insurance policy on Chinenye 2 months before the incident. The village gasped. Was this planned? Was the river an excuse? Even Namdi began to look at his friend differently. Under pressure, Namdi broke. "There's something I didn't tell you," he whispered from his jail cell. The boat had a crack. He had warned Emeka weeks ago, but Emeka insisted it was fine. Why? Because Emeka couldn't swim. He had lied. He survived because Namdi held him up the entire time. Emeka wasn't strong. He was terrified, which meant This was no heroic survival story. It was panic, neglect, and pride. Detective Okoro pressed further. The insurance policy was real, but not recent. It was required by Chinenye's father as marriage security. Emeka hadn't hidden it. It was common practice. The truth was less dramatic, but more painful. The boat had been unsafe, and pride cost 2 lives. A week later, Chinenye's body surfaced miles away. The river had returned her. Autopsy confirmed. Drowning. No struggle marks, no violence. Just tragedy. Uche's body was found days after. The village fell silent. The charges shifted. Not murder, but negligence, reckless endangerment. Emeka collapsed in court, not because he was guilty of killing her, but because he knew if he had fixed the boat, if he had listened, if he had waited, she would be alive. Months later, Emeka returned to the river, alone. He placed white lilies on the water. "I was supposed to build you a house," he whispered. The river moved quietly, not angry, not forgiving, just moving. Because rivers do not stop, and neither does life. But some crossings should never be rushed.